Curtis Jackson didn't build his name on hit records alone. He built it on one unbreakable rule. Cross him once, and the whole world finds out. No exceptions, no expiration date. Steve Stout isn't just anybody. He managed NAS, brokered deals with Jay-Z, and built one of the most powerful marketing companies in the music industry. More importantly, he and 50 had real history together. Vitamin water, sneaker deals, actual money made side by side. So when Stout sat down on Hot 97 in 2014 and named his top 5 most influential artists in hip-hop, and 50 Cent wasn't on it, that wasn't just an opinion. That was a statement from someone who ate at the same table.
You didn't put him in your top 5 of people.
No, he's not.
Really? Wasn't he at one point?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a hit in a really long time. I mean, he has not.
Stout went further, said 50 was always building up to something that never came, said his last real record was I Get Money, said the brand was business, not art. And those words traveled fast. And a few weeks later, at a Knicks game at MSG, 50 didn't send a text or post a meme. He walked straight up to Stout courtside, got right in his face, and made sure he felt exactly what those words cost him. Cameras everywhere. Security standing right there. 50 didn't care. In a sit-down shortly after, he broke it all down.
And it felt like he just wanted confirmation of what he thought was going on the street. And he's that. You know what I'm saying? He's never been that. So, like, if he's pretending to be that, it's the wrong thing to do.
Then came the line the whole industry remembered.
He was on the air and he said, well, now that he's not with the actual record company, and maybe you can get the record played. And now it's playing, Steve. See how your mouth makes things happen? Good guy, man. You know, you just gotta keep him talking. And the more you talk, the more things.
The message was clear. It doesn't matter how connected you are. It doesn't matter how many boardrooms you sit in. Talk reckless about Curtis Jackson on a public platform, and you will see him in person about it. 50 and Vivica A. Fox dated back in 2003. They showed up together at the BET Awards, matched at the VMAs, and for a moment, they were the couple everyone was watching. But the relationship didn't last a year. And the breakup left marks on both sides. For nearly a decade, things stayed relatively quiet. Then in 2015, Vivica went on Watch What Happens Live and blew up whatever piece was left. Andy Cohen brought up 50's comments about Empire's ratings, and Vivica went straight for the jugular.
What were your thoughts when 50 Cent blamed the second season ratings dip on gay stuff?
First of all, you know, the pot calling the kettle black is all I'm saying.
The room went silent. Andy tried to give her a way out. She didn't take it.
Great time, I mean, but he's just seems like he's got something that's not quite clear, so...
She even referenced a magazine cover, said when someone protests too much, the fire is right there in front of them. If you know 50, you know that wasn't going to sit. A few months later, he showed up to that same show and delivered the most unfiltered response in late night TV history.
I said on
Instagram
too, I said, oh no, because I let her lick my ass, she thinks I'm gay.
The studio lost it. Andy couldn't keep a straight face. The audience was screaming. And 50 just sat there with that calm smile, like he'd had that one ready for months and was just waiting for the right moment.
That's the problem. You let someone lick your ass and look what happens.
I'm sorry, I'll never do it again.
He made his point, and he didn't need a single bar to do it. Exposing your ex on TV is one thing, but when a business partner owes you over $1 million and thinks he can quietly dodge it, 50 has a method that makes lawyers look slow. Randall Emmett is a serious Hollywood producer. He and 50 partnered on a film company called Cheetah Vision, made real money together, and were building toward even bigger projects, including BMF. But when the money stopped flowing 50's way and the debt crossed $1 million, most people would have picked up the phone or called their attorney, not 50. He turned Instagram into a public collections agency, daily posts, screenshots of text messages, memes with Emmett's face. A self-imposed deadline posted for the whole world to see. Emmett was begging him to stop. When the wire finally hit, The Breakfast Club reported it live.
Now let's talk about 50 Cent. Apparently he got his money. He got his
from Tierra Marie?
No, from Randall Emmett, actually. Hollywood producer. He did meet 50's self-imposed deadline, and he
Met sent one final message before the payment went through. He said if he agreed to all the terms, could 50 please stop posting, and that the money would be there by morning. Just like that, every post disappeared. 50 called it a blessed day and moved on. But when he sat down and broke down the actual partnership, it got worse.
We were actually partnering on Cheetah Vision Films.
Okay.
We made profits on the film, but it was positioning himself publicly as my partner.
Yes.
But he was receiving a salary.
Met was drawing a salary from their shared profits while presenting himself publicly as 50's equal. And he asked if he had any regrets about taking it to social media.
Do you regret taking your beef with Randall to social media?
No, I got me paid right away.
What's your...
Zero regrets. Said it with a smile. Would do it again tomorrow. The history between 50 and Jim Jones goes back to the mid-2000s Dipset versus G-Unit era. Cameron eventually made peace and moved on. Jim kept going, called 50 a sucker on The Breakfast Club, tied him to Diddy's situation, refused to give him any credit for anything, so 50 didn't respond with a record. He got on the phone with the landlord of Jim Jones's own podcast studio and recorded the whole thing.
I was trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out. And ridiculous.
The landlord, Sam, held nothing back, laid out the lease Jones wouldn't sign, the partnership agreement Jones was violating, and then offered to sell 50 half of Jones's media company on top of everything else.
We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things.
Then came the number that made it impossible to spin.
Right now, he owes, I'm going to say it in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
$80,000 to $180,000 in back rent on a podcast studio. 50 posted all of it. Then in February 2026, surveillance footage dropped of Jim Jones physically kicking in the door of his own studio trying to get inside. 50 posted the footage set to Biggie's Kick in the Door instrumental. The caption read, "Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Fix every door you kick or I'm going to kick your ass, Jimmy." Jones tried to play it off online like it was nothing, but the footage had already gone viral. Fans were calling 50 the final boss. Memes were everywhere. And even Jones's own people had to admit the truth.
Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about some, like, trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's...
No bars needed. Just a phone call, a security camera, and business receipts. The situation between 50 and his eldest son, Marquise, goes back to 2008. A bitter split with Marquise's mother, Shaniqua Tompkins. A $50 million lawsuit. A custody battle that got ugly fast. And a court order that set child support at $6,700 a month. To most people, that's life-changing money. To Marquise, standing next to his father's fortune, it felt like nothing. And he said it on a podcast for everyone to hear.
Right. $6,700 a month, right? $6,700 a month in the state of New York City. You do the math.
I done the...
The host wasn't buying it.
50. And if he's contributing $6,700, that means your mom's got the other half. It ain't just for him to take care of you.
50 watched all of it play out in real time. His own son doing the math on camera, telling the world the check wasn't enough. And 50 responded the only way he knows how. Publicly, directly, with no filter.
$6,700. If I told you right now, right? You got to start your life over right now with $6,700 a month and rebuild your life.
Yes.
Can you do it?
With $6,700, I can.
He didn't stop there either. He explained exactly why he took it to court in the first place.
This is crazy. I'm 25 years old. Why are you still talking about child support? $5,000 a year.
Trolling your own son on the internet is a different tier entirely. But what came next might have been his coldest move yet. Because this time, he didn't respond at all. T.I. and 50 had been circling each other for years. But in early 2026, everything detonated. T.I. sat down and publicly said he'd lost all respect for 50's character, called him a rat, said he backed out of Verzuz, said he wanted nothing to do with him on any stage. 50 responded by posting unflattering photos of T.I.'s wife, Tiny. That brought T.I.'s sons into it. T.I. went into the studio and dropped 2 diss tracks in under 24 hours. The culture reacted immediately.
It was me. That's why I simply wanted the child support, because The bitch thought that she was supposed to get that much more. She wanted more.
Even commentators who supported both sides didn't want to touch this one.
Yeah, that's just one of them ones that could get ugly. I'm not putting no fuel on that. So there's no fuel to be on that fire. I mean, I love.
So what did 50 do after 2 diss tracks and his family getting dragged through the internet? He didn't go to the studio. He posted a photo of a trophy labeled the Stupid Award with a caption that said, "This award goes to old rappers still trying to battle rap. ChatGPT told me you need me to rap. I don't need to rap. That's the whole point." 50 hasn't dropped a studio album since Animal Ambition in 2014. He grossed $105 million on the Final Lap tour across 103 cities worldwide. Power, Raising Canaan, BMF. He's running a television empire. T.I.'s last major headline tour was 2017, 32 cities, America only. The people challenging 50 to rap battles need him to respond just to stay relevant. He doesn't need any of them.
Yeah, this is the one that before. You don't encourage none of the back and forth. Nothing.
Not responding to 2 diss tracks is a power move most rappers simply cannot pull off. The French Montana situation started petty and stayed petty. It goes back to when French was grinding as a DVD cameraman in the Bronx trying to break in. He actually helped 50 during the Rick Ross beef, handed over surveillance footage of Ross's properties for trolling purposes. They had history, but once French got his shine, he started calling 50 a donkey in interviews, started acting like they were on the same level. So 50 went on Big Boy's Neighborhood on Power 106 and laid out French's entire career in front of everyone.
I don't think he gonna make no songs.
Yeah, and a lot of the memes have been back and forth with King, with T.I.'s son.
Every major moment French ever had was on somebody else's record. Never solo, never carrying his own weight, but the peak of the whole beef came when French bought a Bugatti and plastered it all over Instagram. 50 called the dealership.
Because you haven't heard a song with him by himself that's relevant. You see what I'm saying? He's a guy that they put on a record with 2 or 3 other guys. They already established themselves.
Turns out the Bugatti was a 2008 model, CD player, no USB, no navigation, no Bluetooth, a decade-old car the dealership had been trying to move for years. They were just relieved someone finally took it off the lot. Only 50 Cent could make a Bugatti sound like a used Honda Civic. He turned French's biggest flex into the internet's biggest punchline overnight. Eventually, French figured out what Cameron already knew. Beefing with 50 is a losing game.
I don't know what's wrong with that kid. Like, something's wrong with him, you know what I mean? Like, he puts up the Bugatti talking about, well, he had toilet paper in his little video.
French squashed it publicly on Drink Champs, called 50 a genius, praised BMF as the best television he'd ever seen. 50's response? What beef? I don't remember. That's as close to a compliment as you'll get from him. In 2007, 50 was on Hot 97 with Angie Martinez and called Coke Records, Jim Jones's label, a graveyard for washed artists. Cameron heard it in real time, and instead of waiting, he called directly into the live broadcast.
It's like when you beefing, like you feel handicapped. You can't handle nothing. You can't, you can't move here. You can't do this. It's like you feel like, you stuck to a little space. You know what I'm saying? I want to expand.
Cam came in loud, testing 50, asking if he really had the power to kill Dipset's deals. But 50 stayed completely calm the entire time. While Cam got louder and more aggressive, 50 was on air breaking down distribution numbers, comparing album sales, explaining exactly why Coke Records couldn't compete with his network at Def Jam and Warner Brothers. He turned a confrontation into a business lecture on live radio.
I just wanted to step in because I heard you could shut things down over here, and I just want to make sure what's going on.
50 made a deliberate choice to keep it between just him and Cam. No crew, no collateral damage. In a separate interview, he explained why.
Well, Lloyd Banks is at 300,000.
Hey, he's on amazing. Jim is at 300,000.
Right. And that's great for Jimmy, but Jimmy's not, let's look.
Decision left the door open for something neither side expected. Years later, Cameron revealed what actually ended it. 50.
That's why I didn't never make it a 50 Cent versus Dipset thing. I just kept it 50 Cent and Cameron. Because he made a mistake, you know what I mean?
His reaction said everything. Come correct. Lead with money. Talk about getting to the bag. And the armor comes straight down. They've been cool ever since. It goes back to 2004. 50 was at war with Ja Rule and Murder Inc. when Fat Joe linked up with Ja Rule and Jadakiss on the track New York. And 50 didn't see it as a neutral collaboration. He saw it as a declaration. During the G-Unit era, there was no middle ground. You were with him or you were against him. Fat Joe chose wrong. 50 explained exactly how it started.
Me and Fifth
we had music problems, just rap battles in the past, you know what I'm saying? And I remember my first time speaking to him this was over, probably was 2025, probably 2013, years after the rap shit. And the first thing I got on the phone with him, said, what's up, how we gonna get to this money?
Began as a loyalty test turned into New York versus 50 Cent. Subliminals became direct shots. Direct shots became full diss tracks. And for 7 straight years, Fat Joe woke up every single day knowing 50 was somewhere plotting his next move. The pressure never stopped.
And I'm saying, stay away from him. Stay away from him. They go, I'm from New York. Got 100 clips, and it goes straight to that. And that's what brought Jadakiss, and then what brought my Fat Joe issues later.
7 years of diss tracks, interviews, industry maneuvering, and public humiliation. That's enough to break most people, but Fat Joe didn't just survive it. He delivered one of the single greatest moments of the entire war on the biggest stage possible.
Who wants 50 Cent on the ass? 50 Cent on you? It's a terrible day. Like, yo, my God, like I dealt with that for 7 years.
Fat Joe walked out at the MTV Awards and turned 50's own security detail into the punchline of the night on live national television in front of millions with 50 watching. They eventually buried it after their mutual friend, legendary manager Chris Lighty, passed away. Both men came out the other side with genuine respect for each other, but of everyone on this list, every rival, every debtor, every ex, every rapper who thought they could get away with it, nobody ended up in a worse position than the man currently sitting in a federal prison cell. 50 had been calling Diddy out for over a decade, long before the raids, long before the lawsuits, long before the conviction. And it all started with one moment at a wedding.
One of my favorite moments is the MTV Awards, when you went on stage and you was like, I feel so comfortable here because of all of the police security, courtesy of 50 Cent and G Unit.
It might sound like nothing, but 50's reaction was immediate. For years,
I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping.
After that, 50 kept bringing it up in interviews, on Instagram, in random conversations. The whole industry laughed it off, called him petty, told him to move on. Then in March 2024, the FBI kicked in Diddy's doors in Miami and Los Angeles simultaneously. 3 federal agencies at once. The lawsuits came flooding in, and suddenly every joke 50 had ever made started looking like a warning that an entire industry had ignored. And that's when 50 went to the next level, executive producing a Netflix docuseries called Sean Combs: The Reckoning.
I looked at him like, what you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
50 had been pointing at the smoke for years. Nobody listened. In the press run for the documentary, he explained why staying quiet was never an option for him.
He says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, yo, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party.
That's what separates 50 from everyone else. While the whole industry looked the other way, he was the only voice saying it out loud. When people tried to frame the documentary as a personal vendetta, he shut it down completely.
If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip-hop is fine with its behaviors. There's no one else being vocal.
From an uncomfortable moment at a friend's wedding, to memes and Instagram posts, to Breakfast Club interviews, to executive producing a 4-part Netflix series. While Diddy sits behind bars after a mixed verdict, convicted on prostitution charges, acquitted on racketeering and trafficking. That is the full arc of 50 Cent's zero tolerance. He doesn't forget, he doesn't let up, he doesn't care who's uncomfortable. And the most dangerous part, he's usually right. Whether it's a music executive, a Hollywood producer, a rival rapper's landlord, his own son, or the most powerful mogul hip-hop has ever produced. If you cross Curtis Jackson, you deal with the consequences. Not next week, not next month.